this kind of minutes is not one that's going to go anywhere. So I think that we need to try and find a different way of framing it. Otherwise, it just goes back and forth. So I want Nelson, maybe you to try and come back in with something. I had a couple of points I wanted to make, but I think maybe we should reset and sort of move on from this, because otherwise it's going to get into downward spiral and never goes anywhere.
Man, I love the back and forth, man. That's popcorn.
Fine, you can. Okay, you enjoy the dumpster fire. You go ahead.
Fuck it, that's popcorn time. God damn it. Okay, but I mean, let's bring it back, right? Let's really drill down into something here, right? So I'm gonna ask a quick question. We're gonna do this popcorn style across the entire stage, and I just want you guys to answer with a simple yes or no. Truth, no, not you. MZN, do not put me on a flight with your response. I just need a yes or no. Very, very simple, very straightforward. Truth, do you see Hamas as a terrorist organization? Yes or no? Let's go, bro. Unmute your mic, man. Let's go.
Sorry,
The
can you repeat the
truth.
question? Say it again.
Do you see Hamas as a terrorist organization? Yes or no?
No, I explicitly say them as a resistance group.
Got it. MZN, do you see Hamas as a terrorist organization? Yes or no?
I'm sorry, Nelson. I'm not gonna let you like corner me like that, bro.
Bro,
Like, I'm
answer the
sorry.
goddamn question, man. What
There's
the
no
fuck?
cornering. Nelson is here just to provoke thought. It's not even provoking thought. It's
No.
provoking argument.
That's
Nelson
Bro,
is
crazy.
answer
here
the
That's
not to
question.
create. No, Nelson, you're not here to create a safe space. You're not no argument, nor productive
bro.
thought.
Nelson, just doesn't.
Nelson
That's
is
not
here
fair
just to
for us, bro.
provoke.
You've been
What?
doing the same question
Nelson is here
every
just to
day in every
provoke.
space, bro.
What the fuck are you guys talking about? I'm asking a goddamn question.
Nelson, you ask that
But
question
safe
every
spaces,
day.
Nelson. Safe spaces.
Yo, that's crazy as fuck. Like, I'm literally asking everyone on stage the same question.
I
What
understand.
makes the two of you special?
I understand you, but like you've been asking this
Okay,
question
so
for the
answer
past
the
2 days.
question then, because you could
I,
have answered it already.
but you guys
But you
haven't
answer this
answered any of
question,
our
Nelson. Who
questions, though.
labels?
You
No,
guys haven't answered
bro,
any of our questions, though.
I forget your answer. Danny, do you see Hamas as a terrorist organization? Yes or no? Danny, going once, going twice.
What's up?
Yes or no?
I mean, I'm a Zionist, so obviously I see them as a terrorist organization. And then,
Okay.
could you let me speak
Okay.
in just a few minutes?
Not yet. Ali, do you see Hamas as a terrorist organization? Yes or no?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Adam, I already know your answer. Shit.
Yes.
S, what about you?
Yes.
Real Vinny, what about you?
Yes.
P, what say you? Peter, going once, going twice. Lev,
Somebody, you're a bit laggy for me. What you saying?
do you see Hamas as a terrorist organization?
Well, they're recognized by most states. Okay, let's nuance this a little bit more. They represent a sentiment.
It was a
that
yes/no question,
Palestinians.
bro.
It was
I
a
don't
yes,
know
no
what it was,
question,
but
though.
I'm not gonna. I'm a politician. I'm never just gonna answer I'm not a politician.
It's yes/no
Fucking
question.
That was a joke. No, but Hamas is something that represents the Palestinian perspective for many years. And they feel that Hamas represents their views in a way that the Fatah, PA have never done and been able to do so. So are they something that is reflective of a deeper frustration? Yes. But are their actions based on October 7th terroristic? Yes, they are. So, yeah, they are. But that's, there's more nuance as to why they acted as they did. But based on what they did, is it terroristic? Yes, of course it is.
Okay. Lev, yes or no?
What up, Nelson? Absolutely, yes. And not only on October 7th, but since the inception of Hamas till the day that October 7th happened, they've been a terrorist organization and need to get wiped fucking out.
You know what, Lev? I want you to go ahead and debate. You know what? What are your thoughts about Truth saying that Hamas is a resistance group and not a terrorist organization? What's the first thing that came across your mind when you heard that?
Total bullshit. I mean, I can't even imagine people out there talking about resistance. Resisting what? You resist when you're being attacked. You resist. You don't. When you're attacking, you're not resisting. You're attacking. Using the history between the Palestinians and the Israelis is just an excuse that the terrorist organizations like Hamas use.
Truth, what's your response to what he's saying right now? Do you see where he's coming from, or do you think he's misguided?
No, it just sounds like everyone feels or thinks that this war started on the 7th of October. Like, it just shows a bunch of uneducated clowns. This has gone for 75 years. 75 years as an apartheid. 75 years, not 7th of October, but 75 years this has been going on for. But everyone forgets the
Nobody,
history and
truth,
they
nobody,
continue
truth.
with the fact that.
Nobody's talking about the history and the wars going back and forth. October 7th was the red line that was crossed when innocent children got killed and murdered and raped and
Okay,
pillaged. Okay, so that
okay,
was the
Lev, I
right.
hear.
That was the right line that was crossed. You might not
Okay.
believe. To you, might 1,400 innocent people being killed might be a way of resistance, and you're just showing by the way you're talking about it. But at the end of the day, you should be disgusted with that also. You should be sitting here talking about how you as a Palestinian people want to live a good and free life by getting rid of Hamas, asking Israel for help, asking the United States and everybody. Because if that was the case, I believe that the world would get rid of Hamas easily and rebuild Palestine and help. But
Okay.
instead, you're sitting here supporting a terrorist organization. I mean, what's there to talk about?
No, there's definitely something to talk about. So this once again, you think this started 7th of October, but what about in 2018 when 299 Palestinians were killed and over 31,000 were injured on a protest? It was a march. Do you condemn those actions by Israel, or was that self-defense as well?
I need to know more about it. I don't know all the incidents. What
But
happened?
this gives
Give
you
us. Tell me
absolutely. But
exactly
this
what
just
happened.
proved. This
Listen.
just
No, no,
proves
no.
that you have
Listen,
absolutely
listen.
no
No,
right or no
listen, listen,
ratings to
listen.
talk in this
Truth. Let's not.
topic.
No, no.
You're
Let's not
talking about
throw. Let's
7th of
not throw
October
little
and all.
bullet points. No, no. Let's stop this.
No,
This is
no,
what happens. This is what happens. You throw little bullet points with no facts, just like you did with the USS Liberty. Yes, it was attacked by the United States, but it was a mistake because the Israelis didn't know it was during the 6 Day War. They didn't know that it was it, and it was over. It was not an attack by Israel against the United States. But you threw it out there like a little tidbit because most
no.
people don't know everything out there. So what I'm saying,
I'll leave my factual evidence in the comments. If you give a
no,
fuck and you genuinely
no.
care, you look into
Oh,
it.
I definitely fucking care, and what I'm saying to you is, when you sit here and try and make excuses for fucking what happened October 7th is fucking disgusting. You should be condemning it, and you should be talking about how that shouldn't be happening, and then we could talk about how to move forward. But when you're
In
sitting here
what
talking,
reasonable
making
world?
excuses for it, making
In what
excuses
reasonable
for it.
world would you condemn a retaliation? But in what reasonable world do you condemn
Retaliation,
retaliation?
because if it was a retaliation, they could have taken prisoners of the guards. They could have taken the post when they took it the way they did. They didn't have to go in and pillage innocent people, women and children. They didn't have to take 250 hostages. That's
Those
not
women and children
retaliation.
killed. You think they
That's
were killed in the
terrorism.
hands of Hamas exclusively and not in the crossfire between IDF and Hamas? You don't believe the crossfire took place?
No, there was no
No, there was no crossfire. What are
Okay,
you talking? See, this is propaganda that being,
but
and then
it's not
also
propaganda.
another thing, the
These are
truth,
articles
another
written
thing.
by the
Yeah,
Guardian.
but another
These are
thing. You keep
articles written by the
listen to me.
Guardian advising
Another
that
thing. The
Hamas.
Guardian means nothing. The Guardian means nothing.
But
They
that's
weren't
your
on the
Western
ground.
media. That
They were
doesn't
not
even
on the
take our
ground.
side.
There's a lot of Western media that writes one way or the other. That don't mean nothing. That by quoting one article in one paper, that doesn't mean that's fact. There are people, because things happen quickly. Then media retracts. There's other information that comes out. So let's not play that game. The bottom line is we know the fact is 1,400 people, innocent people got killed. If some by mistake and there was crossfire and God forbid that happened, that doesn't excuse or talk about and excuse the 1,400 people and the 250 that are now being held prisoners in the West Bank. Not the West Bank, excuse me, in Gaza. And not only that, but the war, just because the Israeli Defense Force and the Iron Dome was successful, that's the only reason they don't have as many casualties, because till this day, the rockets are going off into Israel. So let's not talk about, say that, oh, this is, Israel's attacking. There's a war going on. Hamas is continuing to attack Israel after October 7th, not just October 7th.
I need a point. I need somebody that disagrees with what he's saying right now. Truth, Nico, whoever. Jump in, grab the
Hey, Lev, you
microphone.
keep saying let's not talk about it, man. See, that's the crazy part is when people spit facts about what Israel's been doing to Palestinians, you guys never want to talk about it. All right, you sit up here. All right, I don't have time to be up here. I'm gonna drop myself after this. But you sit up here and you talk about, you sit up here like you're a fucking professional, like you've been doing this forever, and you don't even know about the right to the march, the right to return. So if you don't understand that, you shouldn't even be up on this panel. You shouldn't even be talking about. Oh, you want to hold on?
Dude,
Hey,
you have first of all,
hey,
when
don't
you
cut me
Google,
off.
go to
You're not gonna
Google
cut me off.
first before
When
you.
I'm done
Yeah,
talking,
when
then
you
you
go
can
first
talk.
find out who
Yes,
the
one
hell it
One
is
second.
mic,
before you
get off
talk.
the mic, mute yourself. All right. When I'm done talking, you're not gonna cut me off. I'm not. I'm
If
not
you're gonna
that
make
guy.
accusations, then
All
make
right.
sure you're not.
So
Hey,
here,
bro,
you need to
Why
know
is
your
Nelson
facts.
muted left?
you need to know who the fuck you.
1 second, gentlemen. 1 second. Let's get one mic on Nico real quick. Nico, calm
No, no.
down, man.
I'm gonna calm
Woosah.
down. I don't.
You know, Papa Xanax or something like that,
No.
man. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
good up here for a minute. Listening.
How many minutes?
40 minutes, 50 minutes.
40 minutes, and your conclusion is it's a pro-Israeli
It's
space.
not. It's not. That's not what I'm. Nelson. What I'm saying is
You just said
what.
that just came out of your mouth right
What?
now, though.
Okay. I'm gonna explain that then, Nelson. What I'm saying is you stopped and asked everybody if Hamas is a terrorist organization.
Of
But
course.
you didn't stop and ask everybody if Israel's a terrorist organization.
I haven't
But you
gotten there
never do
yet.
though, Nelson. You never do.
Oh my. So you're making assumptions about the future, like you know what I'm
No,
about to do.
but Nelson, we're in these spaces every day, brother.
Okay, wait, let me give you a, some clarity. Okay, I'm a moderator, right? By me asking that question, I'm leading everyone into that conversation, right? Just like I can ask another question in 45 minutes and pivot the conversation to a different direction, right? And I know you probably don't understand this. You know what I'm saying? You on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? You chilling. You don't really moderate shows, et cetera, et cetera. I completely understand it, right? But you gotta calm down a little
I'm
bit, okay?
calm,
Be
Nelson.
be
You know
patient.
me.
I got a divided stage. I've moved people down to the audience in order to balance the stage out multiple times if you haven't noticed already.
As a
Okay?
mod.
Which is why
Okay.
you got up on stage in
Absolutely.
two
And I
seconds
appreciate you.
after you hit the request button, and I got
And I
25 people requesting right
and
now. Okay, so
mad
just
respect for that, Nelson.
so please, no, because it's crazy, man. Like I get called a Zionist, whatever the
I've
fuck.
never called
Like
you a
it's so
Zionist,
fucking
Nelson.
crazy.
Can I just say something?
Like be fucking
All right,
patient. Get
cool.
on stage, debate these motherfuckers. Don't make assumptions,
Cool.
bro.
So when this brother, all right, let me ask you this, Nelson. When this brother asked about the right to return, you have a lot of pro-Israeli people up here that understand what went down that day. And when he said we should not talk about this, why didn't you ask if he didn't know about it? Somebody knows about it. Somebody can tell
You're
you
a
about it.
fool. I didn't say don't talk
You
about it. I
have
said explain. I
Tally
said
up
tell me
here,
what
and
happened.
Tally knows
I didn't
everything.
say
Hey,
don't talk
give
about it.
I'm gonna
I
give
didn't say don't
respect
talk.
to
Listen,
Tally
Lev,
for
Lev,
one
Lev.
reason.
Let me get one mic on this guy. Let me get one mic on this guy. Lev, 1 second. Go ahead.
I'm going to give Tally respect for one reason, because she does know a lot of the history of what's been going on, and you know what, she's pro-Israeli, she's a Zionist. All I'm saying is when people don't like what pro-Palestinians are saying, right? They just want to move past that. But if it's something that's said, if somebody asks a pro-Palestinian about something, they expect them to explain it to the T, and if they don't explain it, people start talking shit about him. So all I'm saying is when Brother Truth asked Lev about the rights, the march, the right to return, right? And over 200 people were killed in a peaceful protest. And he says, "Oh well, I don't know about that, and let's not talk about that because it's got nothing to do with this." But it does have something to do with this, and he should know what the hell he's talking about if he's going to sit up on stage and ask Truth, "Oh, you want to talk about Hamas? They're a terrorist organization. They did this on October 7th, and blah blah blah. And will you condemn Hamas? And will you condemn Hamas? Well, will Israelis condemn the march, the right to return when they killed over 200 people? Will you Israelis condemn that when nobody had weapons and it wasn't Hamas and it was just peaceful Palestinians asking to be freed from an open air prison? Will you guys condemn that?" Nelson, I do have to go, but I know Truth will be able to back me up if there's any questions that are going to be asked of me. Truth is down there,
Nico, check
brother.
this out before you leave,
Go
right?
ahead, brother.
Truth ain't got as much bass in his voice as you do. You understand? That's probably what the problem is. You got the wrong person representing you on a goddamn stage. You see all that bass in your voice, bro? You see how your point was delivered so succinctly, right? You need somebody like that on the stage backing the
Hey, and that's
pro-Palestinians.
why I called.
That's what you
Hey,
need.
Nelson, and I'm straight up. I don't sugarcoat shit, and that's why I called out any of the Palestinian people that are going to be on stage. If you're going to be on stage and you're going to represent us, you need to represent us right. That's all I have to say. You have to represent us right. If not, drop yourself to the bottom and give that spot to somebody that knows how to talk, how to articulate things, and how to get the point across. That's all I got to say. Nelson, I do got to go, but I'll be back on in about an hour or two, brother. All right? I
Let's do
appreciate you.
it. Let's do it.
All right,
Let's
man.
do it. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, very simple, right? Very, very simple. I need you to hit that chat feature at the bottom right corner of the page. And I need you to quote tweet this space and tag every strong Palestinian speaker you can think of. Okay. I don't want to give anybody an excuse to call this a Zionist space anymore, right? Because I'm playing this very, very carefully. Most importantly, I've got the entire fucking stage divided. Okay. We got pro-Palestinians. We have pro-Israelis. It's not my fault if a pro-Palestinian speaker on a stage doesn't have enough bass in their voice, right? Or can't deliver their points in a way that appeases those in the audience. It's not my fault. Okay. So for you guys in the audience, the space is open. Okay. I'm moderating. It's balanced. Tag every pro-Palestinian you can think of. Quote tweet this space and get them to come in. Very simple. Or copy the link and DM it to them. Let's have this goddamn debate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Let's talk about it. GC, I see you, my brother. Thank you for jumping in.
And I posted his question up top. Do you think Israel is a terrorist organization? And if so, vote on the poll. And then if so, come up and please share with the audience what terrorist operations it participated in.
That's a fact. That's going to be the next topic of debate. I'll probably bring it up in about 20 minutes. But hit that poll up top. And in the meantime, let's go to S. S. Break it down, man. Let's talk about it.
Whoa, that's fiery. Nico, yikes. Lots of Sassel radicalization going on there, Nico. Very nice. So Nico wants to talk about the Great March of Return, and he's trying to play the victimhood as all jihadis do and jihadi supporters do. Nothing new, not surprised about that. But let's talk about the facts, okay? The Great March of Return was in 2018, and it was a plan that started by some lunatic who is a Hamas operative in 2011. He didn't quite get as much momentum in 2011, so he started going with it and started putting up Facebook posts and begging people to come to this thing and support it in 2018. Hamas offered to pay, now listen, Hamas offered to pay families to bus them over to the Israeli fence to go and attack the IDF and attack the fence. So this whole bullshit about, oh, it was a peaceful march is a load of absolute bollocks, because that is not true at all. They were actually paid $3,000 for every time one of their operatives were killed. And the reason that IDF, so many of them got killed, is because they started in waves. They started with 30,000 protesters and bust more of them. The Great March of Return went on for over a year of them attacking Israel. They used Molotov cocktails, bombs, knives, suicide bombers, every single thing you can think of. Do you really think that Israel was not going to retaliate? And do you know, as usual, what did they do? What did they do when they started this great march? They used children. Children were at the forefront at the fence. They were the shield. Okay, so when he wants to talk about all that, maybe don't leave out the facts. That's actually important. And that was not anything in retaliation for anything Israel did. Again, it was just an attack that Hamas decided to go about on themselves. And the very person who actually organized that march, which is Abu Atama, is actually going back and forth between Gaza and New York. He has a foundation in New York, which is called Mecca, which is a Middle Eastern Children's Alliance. This is how they get, it's a 501c3, where they get donations that is supposedly for children in Gaza, and he literally funnels that money to Hamas. Okay. The other point about that, he is one of the people behind all of the factions that you see that are out marching. He created their toolkits for them. He is actually listed as one of those people on their sites. In addition to all of that, he was the one that basically called for all the protesters. Now, I have a whole bunch of intel that I've dropped on my timeline, even down to the very voicemails that he was sending on WhatsApp asking for these protests, telling them what they needed to say. All the narratives you hear coming out was from him. That's what he does. And he fronts himself as an activist, but he's actually a journalist for Hamas. I even have evidence of that on my timeline. All you need to do is go and read it. I've put everything together in 2 intel documents. It's on my timeline. So everything Nico's talking about is a bunch of bullshit. As for Truth talking about how the West keeps supporting all of these terrorists and terrorist organizations and what have you. First of all, these are all of the people that have come in from the Middle East, found themselves positions within the Western government, within the Western whatever, set up NGOs, are getting funding and sending that to terrorist organizations. So think about what you were saying before you actually talk about it. And you low key are basically just a Hamas supporter, a terrorist supporter, but you're trying to front as you're some peaceful person. You're so peaceful. Tell me why it is that you are up on here arguing with everyone rather than going and arguing with all the terrorists that are online. Where is your cause to go and come up and confront the very people that you are claiming are extremists, which you don't agree with? But yet you are on here basically saying that you support Hamas. What a load of crap. Okay, you are basically low key a Hamas supporter and literally are trying to say something else. Absolute hypocrite. There's no difference. This is, you just proved there's no difference. Okay, you want to talk about all these Muslim countries and how it's only Hamas. Hamas is just the arrow. Okay, why has every other Muslim country surrounding Israel not taken any of these people in? You care so much about them. Why haven't you taken them in? Why aren't you opening your doors to them? Right? That is a very, very logical question. Why aren't you doing it? What are you doing to go and support those poor people? You want to talk about all that. Where is all the aid? Where's all the help? Where's all of them telling Hamas to stop doing what they're doing? At the end of the day, you aren't doing it. So you want to talk about moderate, you want to talk about extremists, but then you basically come out and say, yes, you support what Hamas is doing. So whichever country you live in, if you are not to agree with it, that will be your outcome, right?
Can I ask you a
So
question then? All right, so if we're suggestive that these countries surrounding the Gaza Strip and the border, they should be taking in the Palestinians and the Gaza refugees, what exactly is the end game? What's the end goal that would suffice the West as well as you guys? What would suffice you? Apart from a ceasefire from Hamas and a complete surrender, what would
again,
suffice
he's
you in
giving you
terms
the
of?
same bullshit talking points, dude.
But it's not. I just
Stop,
want to understand. I want to
stop
understand what your
listening to
vision
me.
of a solution is. What is your vision of solution? Because from what
Every
I
single
understand,
thing you said on
if
here, everything you
once
said
again
on here,
you just wrote a lot of rubbish.
S
Once
S.
again,
Let me get one mic. Let me get one mic on truth.
let me
You
just
know,
understand.
again,
So
we need to keep this balance. 1 second. We need to keep this balance, right?
if
You spoke in your point. Let's get one mic on a pro-Palestinian speaker to respond to what you're saying. Let's keep it balanced. Okay.
listen, I'm here by myself, by the way. There's no one else here that looks seems pro-Palestine. But nonetheless, I'm not arguing back. I just want to understand what S's genuine visual of a peaceful solution is in terms of the refugees from Gaza. Not the actual war, but what do we do with the refugees?
so why aren't again, you asking me the same thing that I've just asked you. You're just rephrasing my question. Why aren't any of the Muslim countries coming to aid and stopping Hamas from doing what they are doing? Why aren't they telling Hamas to stop what they're doing? Why are the hostages not been returned after a month? Okay, where are the hostages?
Netanyahu
Why
was the
have
one
them not
stalling
been
negotiation. Let
returned?
it be known.
Says you.
Again, don't come at me with your mainstream media talking points, right? I'm talking about facts. I'm talking about intel. I'm talking about the things that, not what you read in Al Jazeera. I'm not interested in
No.
propaganda.
This
I
is
don't
this
do
is this is
propaganda.
out of the Knesset itself.
What a load of crap. That is not true. First of all, the hostages have not been returned. Every time that, and why have they not been returned? Because they want to keep the momentum going, right? Why do they want a ceasefire yet they never stop? If you don't want
You're
IDF to
not
attack
answering my
you,
question. What do
why
we
are
do about
you?
the refugee situation? You're not answering my
The Muslim
question. What do we
countries need
do?
to take them. They need to take them, or they need to tell Hamas to stop. Which part of that do you not understand? Are
Okay,
you?
so when these refugees leave the Gaza Strip and they move and they free up the land, what exactly happens to that land then? What's the next
Hamas
process?
gets destroyed, and then the refugees go back. It's pretty simple. The Israelis were pretty clear, brother.
So Israel was just going to just sacrifice that piece of land, that Gaza Strip, back and provide it back to the Palestinians of free will and goodwill because they're great people. Is that what it is? Or do you think that once they get rid of all
No,
these people and these
BB
individuals?
already explained. There's if some type of international body does not come in to govern and control the land in the interim until a new Palestinian government can be formed, then Israel will have to take outsized responsibility in controlling the borders and controlling the ports and all of these things. That is true, but the intention that Bibi Netanyahu has set out very explicitly is for the people to come back once Hamas is annihilated.
I definitely want to get, I mean, we got Jackson Hinkle on the stage, man. I mean, there's nobody more pro-Palestinian than Jackson on X, right? So, I mean, Jack, I got to go to you right now, man. What are your thoughts about what's being said on the stage right now? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I think Israel is the most destructive terrorist group on the face of the earth. And I think Netanyahu needs to be wiped away from. Everyone says, who's going to govern Gaza after the war? Because Hamas is a terrorist group. Okay, nowhere near as much of a terrorist group as Netanyahu. That guy's a fucking he's a maniac. And of course, the only governments who recognize Hamas as a terrorist group, it's the largest perpetrators of terrorism on the face of the earth. It's the UK, it's the United States, it's all these Western countries. I mean, let's look at the past 20 years. Who's responsible for the most terroristic loss of life and injuries on the planet? It's the United States. In Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Syria, in Africa. Obama had like a 97% civilian casualty rate with Avril Haines' drone program.
Yo, why
And
do you
now
live, Jackson? Why do you live?
now they're propping up, still Netanyahu for this genocidal terror campaign. If anyone wants to argue that Hamas is a terrorist group because they took some civilian hostages, okay, what about the nearly 10,000 political prisoners and hostages that Israel has in their prisons right now that are all Palestinians? If anyone wants to argue that Hamas is a terror group because they've got, 100 or so to several hundred hostages, what about the fact that Israel has bombed 50 of those hostages to death since October 7th? I mean, it's a complete, flipping of reality what's happening right now. And that's why Putin and China, they're the only good leaders. They're sending aid to Gaza. Putin held meetings with Hamas. I mean, the rest of the world doesn't see the situation like the West does, and it's very sad.
Yeah, that's not strictly correct, is it? Because the European Union have been sending aid as well. They may have cut it originally, but that's not true, Jackson. But also to look at the double standards of the Chinese with their treatment of the Oegas and then sort of treat them as though they're some kind of moralistic superiority versus that of the Israelis towards the Gazians is not necessarily consistent. Also, perhaps the Russians towards the Dagestanians is not very good either, even if Russia is slightly more multi-ethnic in its population makeup. So I think we should be a little bit consistent. This isn't a defense of the West, but I don't think we should sort of look to President Xi of China or President Putin and suddenly think that they're the be-all and end-all of sort of human rights stand-up, right?
I think
let's be consistent with our messaging, yeah?
I think they are, actually. I mean, they've built over 8,000 mosques in Russia. In China, they treat the Uyghurs very well. They've uplifted the standard of living for Uyghurs.
Come on, buddy. Come on. You're kidding.
Jackson, why aren't you living in?
Wait. One at a time.
No.
Let me just finish talking. I mean,
no, but you come in with all these.
Well, no, you make these,
No. You make these extreme statements, buddy, and I completely.
Now, so we're gonna get one mic on Jack. You're gonna get a chance to respond.
Okay, so Nelson, you have an expert in this subject
matter. No, we have to keep it balanced. Okay. No. We maintain the stance.
Nelson, Nelson, when you're done, I want to go after his dumbass. Okay, with 2 million followers, he sounds dumb as fuck.
I mean, he just might tell your ass up with some facts.
2 million followers and shit. He sounds dumb as fuck.
Man.
I love you, Jonathan.
Jonathan, this is wrong, man. This is wrong. You cannot just use, profanities, man. Have a debate. If you have a debate, man. If you have arguments, you have run out of arguments.
It's very simple, right? The audience is going to decide, right? So no profanity, no need for all that shit. We'll see what the audience pick, right? Very simple. You got the facts, debate the facts, but one mic on each speaker. Jack, let's talk about it, my brother. Let's go.
Yeah, well, China has uplifted the standard of living for Uyghurs. They've given them jobs. They have. There's no genocide, as these people claim. It's really funny that they claim. The only genocide happening right now is the genocide in Gaza. Okay, there's no Uyghurs being, rounded up and killed. And the stat that people often cite, there's this stat. They say, oh, there's between 1 million and 2 million Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps in China. First of all, there's no photos of these concentration camps or the Uyghurs in them. Second of all, the way that they got this stat is a group of National Endowment for Democracy funded political hacks went into a random town in the Xinjiang province of China. They interviewed a family of 6 Uyghurs, of which those 6 Uyghurs, they said like 2 people they knew had been taken to a re-education camp in China because China has this horrible terrorist issue with some of the more radical elements of the Uyghur population. And they extrapolated that statistic upon the whole entire Uyghur population. So it's completely unfounded and fake, and the Uyghurs are actually doing better than ever before. But I
Okay,
want to keep the
so I'm going to
conversation
answer that point,
focused
and then
on
we can go
Gaza.
back to Israel.
There's 10,000
No, no, no. I
plus.
want to
There's
speak to the Awake
10,000
point,
plus
Nelson. Come
dead.
on,
There's
one point
10,000.
at a time. This is.
There's 10,000 plus
Am I
dead
going to
in
speak, or are
Gaza.
we
Let
going
him
to be
finish,
like
Piotr.
this?
Why are you not let him finish, man?
Yeah,
Because
Bro,
he's
I'm
we're
almost
talking.
done.
Are we
I'm
talking
almost done.
Israel Palestine, or are we talking Awake?
I'm
yo,
almost done.
Peter, respectfully, let him finish.
There's 10,000 plus dead in Gaza right now, and no amount of media flipping and mainstream media propaganda can change that fact. Israel has killed far more Palestinians than Hamas leaders. I mean, what? There's maybe like 100 dead Hamas leaders now. There's 10,000 dead civilians, almost 4,000 of which are children. It's sick.
Yeah, I'll
Piotr.
jump in.
No,
Okay,
let's get
so
Piotr.
Awake genocide. Let's have some fun. Awake genocide. So the Awakers are an ethnic minority group that come from the region of Central Asia, which is historically known as East Turkmenistan. East Turkmenistan lost its independence in 1934. And how do I know this? I know this because I had a sit down conversation with the president of East Turkmenistan in DC in person about a year ago. So when I'm sort of being lectured to about the intricacies and supposed situation of the Uegas, who's never actually been to the region, is quite frustrating. I have to be honest. Respectfully, Nelson, I've had my hand up for Wraith for a while, and then this chap comes in, and just because he's got a big following, suddenly we have to all listen and bow
Of
down to
course
his
we do. Of
perspective.
course, because he's number one in the
No, of
world.
course we
He
no,
is
we
number
don't,
one in the
because
world.
he
Entire country of
no.
Israel is after him, sir.
Yeah.
Mossad
I'm not
wants to
going to
kill him,
really
sir.
listen to free
Mossad is after his
Assange
life,
as
okay?
a
So we
source of
will give him.
information.
I mean, I think respectfully, if you got the country of Israel tweeting about your ass, I mean, shit, you definitely got to grab the microphone when you jump in here. But again, right, there must be pushback. We need a debate, man. This can't be an echo chamber. So 100% we're gonna get both sides, but you gotta calm down, my man. I mean, shit. Papa
The
Papa
interesting thing
Xanax,
is, though,
man.
Nelson, that we're not even
Jonathan,
talking
can you
about.
get this man a Xanax already, my brother? I mean, god damn.
Yeah, I'm getting one, but I can't wait to jump on Jackson respectfully, because Jackson talking about the biggest terrorists out there, the United States and all this other stuff. I mean, the United States, my fucking freedom fighters. That's what they are. They're my
How
freedom
many
fighters.
people he
That's what
has
the
killed?
United States
How many
is.
people Jackson has
But
Calm
Hamas
down.
is
Interrupt
terrorists and
Allah.
America's freedom
All right,
fighters. What a fucking ironic comment.
all right, let's get Piotr. Piotr, please land your plane, man. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the debate going. Jump
Yeah,
in.
I'll land my plane when I actually, had a chance to speak for a bit, which is that, Jackson comes in with a lot of strong statements. I understand the cause that he represents, which is the Palestinian one, and I think that's an important one. No one is, I think, okay with the extent to which Israel is responding. Many people feel it is completely disproportionate. A lot of people feel that it represents a genocidal intent. We can look at some of the details of the UN Charter and the Geneva Convention, and do they represent some of the international humanitarian laws, if you want to be actually detailed about it, if you actually want to know the subject. Yes, they do. But unfortunately, that's not as simplistic as that. And to make the comparison to the Uyghurs in the first place, which I think is completely irrelevant to this conversation, but someone else brought it up, so we'll go with it. It's not the same. And the illustration that he talks about a singular Uyghur family. Okay, so we've got satellite imagery. I've talked about the president of the East Turkestan movement. There are people on the ground in his own country. I can name him at least 4 people I know who live in Miami, where I know he lives, which he can go and speak to tomorrow if he actually wants to do that. But anyway, back to Israel and Palestine. Yes, the situation is abhorrent. And I think that we need a better ability to talk about what the Israelis should be doing. There are many concerns in both Western countries now and those who actively support Israel in the government versus those who are holding the government to account. I'm using the British government, for example, right? So the British government, the Tory government, thinks that Israel should be supported, but there are people within the own party, not in the government, the ministers, who are saying we need Israel to start adhering to international humanitarian law. Even the Biden administration said it just this afternoon. So I think we need to be more clear on the details of these sorts of things and how they actually work in law of armed conflict without just coming through with a deliberate inflammatory rhetoric. Specifically because also Jackson has 2 million followers because he was shut down on YouTube. I wonder why. I wonder why he's now pushing for followers on here, because he needs to make up for his revenue loss on YouTube. That's it. That's a large
He
proportion.
is
Okay,
banned from
just to
YouTube, sir. He is banned from.
just to quickly
I
just
know. I literally just said that.
just to quickly respond. I don't want to talk. We're here to talk about Gaza. I don't want to bother with Uyghurs and whatnot, but I find it interesting. So Piotr started his statement by saying twice that he met with the president of East Turkmenistan, which he meant to say East Turkestan. He
No, no,
eventually
no,
got
no,
it.
no, 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 not Turkestan, mate. Turkmenistan. If you do your history, Turkmenistan is a separate existent sovereign state. Turkestan is a separate historic.
All right, we got it. We got it.
No, 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 no,
Somebody,
no. You know, so
somebody
come
get
on.
this
This
man
guy
some
doesn't know
sleeping
his
pills,
history.
man.
We
I
don't need
mean,
to talk about it.
calm
Come on.
down. Yo, Jackson, what do you do to this guy, bro? I mean, Jesus Christ. Let's talk about it, man.
He's fake intellectual. That's
Uh,
that.
May I speak? I
Anyways,
mean,
then he said he met with the president. There is no president. It's not a country. This guy's a random
It's
exile
called an
that claims to be a.
identity movement, buddy. It's
I
called an
know, but you
identity.
said it was a country. It's not a country.
It
It's not a
was. It
country.
used to be.
But you said president of the country of East Turkmenistan. You meant to say
No, but
East
this is the point. You're
Turkestan.
so ignorant. You don't even understand what.
Bro,
You
let's
said
get one
you
mic on
said
this guy, man.
you said
Jesus.
East Turkmenistan twice, and you said the president. There is no president. It's not a country. And also, that's just a random exile that does the political lobbying work of the United States. That's why he's allowed in the United States and is no longer allowed in China. It is pretty clear. I mean, if you had someone that was doing that sort of stuff paid by a foreign actor in the United States, they'd have to register as a foreign agent. They wouldn't be allowed here. There'd be certain restrictions on them. And I think it's really weird that there's people like you who work for the World Bank and you can do the lobbying of these sorts of international globalist groups. You don't have to register as a foreign agent. But if someone works for China or works for Russia, then they do have to register as a foreign agent. If you work for the Israeli lobby group, you don't have to register as an Israeli foreign agent. It's just so weird to me. It's clear the U.S. has its preferences, but I, you know, no one can dispute the fact that what's happening in Gaza right now is a genocide. People say condemn Hamas, condemn Hamas, condemn Hamas. It's like, well, why? Why should we condemn Hamas? I don't get that. I think we should condemn what Israel's doing with this genocide right now, and it's not stopping. We're 30 days into it. It's not stopping anytime soon. They're going to level all of Gaza, and the end result is going to be either Israel is, they succumb to so many casualties that they have to pull back, or there's a wider war that's going to start. Hamas is not going to be wiped out, as Netanyahu says. It's just an impossibility.
Hey, Jackson, Jonathan being here, and I'm going to handle you with kid gloves because I was informed that you're a little soft, so I'm going to go a little easy on you, okay? I have a question for you in terms of Hamas. The leaders of Hamas, how did they form? How was Hamas formed? Do you know?
Jonathan,
Uh,
these are things you
Please,
should be
please, please.
answering
I'm
yourself.
talking to Jackson,
It's
bro.
not our job
Mute
to
your mic.
educate you, bro. It's
Mute
not
your
our job.
mute, bro. Mute your mic, please. Thank you. Jackson?
Well, actually, Israel helped in the creation of Hamas initially.
What I'm asking is the
Fuck
leaders,
off with that bullshit.
the leaders of Hamas right now. Okay, where are they from? They're what? Guys, they're originally from Gaza, correct?
Well, you asked the question, how was Hamas formed? Israel
No,
actually helped.
I didn't say how was Hamas formed. I said the leaders of Hamas. How did they form? How did they become leaders? And where did they come from? Were they people of wealth? Were they people of or were they regular Gazans that was pretty much a resistance? That's what I'm asking you. That's what I'm trying to get.
Like the fighters, you mean?
That the leaders of Hamas is what I'm asking you about. The leaders.
The leaders right now, or the leaders of when it was formed?
When it was formed.
Well, the
Okay.
leaders of when it's formed, I don't think have all that much of a continuity with the leaders of today, because they've changed their charter. They've completely changed their
I get
positions
that.
on. I know, but they've completely changed their positions on Syria, for example. I mean,
But was Hamas a grassroots? Was it grassroots? Let's start there.
well,
Okay.
Israel helped form Hamas.
Okay. Was Hamas grassroots? Yes or no?
What do you mean by grassroots?
Did it form from some, I guess, wealthy organization? How did it form?
Well,
Was it the
Israel
people?
helped. I guess if you think Israel's a wealthy organization, I don't want to paint you as anti-Semitic, but if you think Israel's a quote unquote wealthy organization, then I guess you could say that they were in
The
part.
point that I'm making, and I'll do this because right now you're speaking about Hamas. The leaders of Hamas is in Qatar, okay, and they got $11 billion. $11 with a B. Okay, and you're saying it's a resistance organization. I believe Hamas is an enterprise for the leaders to get money, and they have selfishly used the citizens of Gaza, the Palestinians, okay, as collateral, as whatever, to continue to get aid, okay, and to continue to put their lives in danger, to always get another round of funding when they want to get it, because they're living a very lavish life in Qatar.
Really?
Yeah, they are.
What sort of lavish life, and what was the most recent round of funding they got?
They get funding every year. They get funding from the EU. They get funding from. They get aid from the EU.
Hamas gets funding from the EU?
No, I'm talking about the Palestinian
Yes.
people. I'm talking about Palestine. The Palestinian people in Gaza is what I'm speaking
Or are
about.
you talking about the Palestinian Authority?
No, I'm talking about the Palestinians in Gaza. They get
Which
aid. They get
ones?
funding. So you're
Which
saying
ones?
that the Palestinians don't
Wait.
get any funding?
Which ones?
Excuse me?
Which ones?
There's only one Gaza. Okay,
No. You said the Palestinians in Gaza get money from the EU and from Qatar. So from which ones? Which Palestinians?
the Palestinian people. You know what? Because I'm being told,
May I jump in? May I
go
jump
Nelson.
in,
Because
Jonathan?
Nelson, I was
May
going
I
to hit him
jump in?
upside the head. Obviously,
Can I
you
help,
don't, you want us to
please?
keep clubbing. Go
You know
ahead,
what
keep
I
clubbing.
think? You know what
Go
I
ahead, keep
think,
clubbing.
right? I think we need to let's focus this debate on the main points, right, regarding this war. Okay. So one thing that's been said a lot is what's going on in Gaza is genocide, right? Let's pick that as a subtopic right now to debate. Right? That's a big one that a lot of people are talking about. Some people think it's genocide, some people don't think it's genocide, right? Let's dive into that. And then in 30 minutes, we'll bring up another subtopic. Right? I think we should keep it on that level. But I want to go to S though. S, I got a simple question for you right now. What's happening in Gaza right now? Do you see it as genocide?
No, I do not.
God damn. Okay. Let's talk about it.
It's not genocide. So, first of all, to come to the point that Jackson was making, Hamas was actually formed by the Muslim Brotherhood, and it was specifically for this cause because they never ever wanted. And of course, Jackson, you're going to bring up the CCP because there's no separation between Hamas, Muslim Brotherhood, and the CCP. So I understand your stance and where you're coming from in those talking points because it's the propaganda talking points. So I expected that from you. But Hamas was formed by the Muslim Brotherhood, and Hamas, the day that they were formed, were very, very clear. Okay, that they do not want any other solution other than an Islamic state. They want an Islamic state. That was the whole purpose of Hamas being formed. So before you talk about Hamas being formed simply to take on Israel, that's yes, you are correct because they want to basically wipe out Israel so that they can have the Islamic State that they want. That is the goal of the Muslim Brotherhood, which is the exact reason that Al Qaeda was formed. again, by Muslim Brotherhood. So when you're talking about genocide, and it comes to your point, Nelson, when you're talking about genocide, do you know that Palestinians are breeding at 6 times more the rate than any other race or anyone else? How is that genocide? If Israel were to wipe out, and if Israel wanted to commit genocide, I can guarantee you right now that there would not be a Palestine territory that exists with any humans on it. Instead, what the IDF were doing was basically issuing evac orders since day one. Evac orders since day one. They created pathways and made ways for civilians to exit. They did manage to have a lot of civilians exit, but the people that were stopping them were the very people you support, Jackson, which is Hamas, a terrorist organization that terrorize civilians, that shoot them down when they're trying to leave. So if there's anybody that's committing genocide, and if you want to call it that, then you should be looking at Hamas. Okay, so whether they want to take out Israel or whether they want to take out their own people and use them as human shields or shoot them while they try to escape, there is no civility to that. That is barbarism. And the other point that you made, why does everybody have to go and say, have to register as a agent? Well, on the countries that are trying to destroy us, and we have civilians basically brainwashed and working for them, for the very countries that are trying to destroy us, we want to know what they're doing at all times, which is why they need to register. For the countries that are not trying to destroy us and destroy the world as we know it, we know we can trust them to a certain degree, so we don't expect people to register. Hopefully that explains it. Go ahead, Nelson.
Let's talk about it, Jackson. I mean, we need a different perspective. Let's go.
Well, that was an extremely broad brush that was used to just paint that picture. I mean, the speaker talked about, said, well, Hamas wants to create the Islamic State just like Al Qaeda does. The speaker doesn't know that Hamas and Al Qaeda are diametrically opposed, actually, and Hamas has actually taken up arms against Al Qaeda and arrested a bunch of Al Qaeda fighters. And actually, the speaker doesn't even know that Israel funded and armed and admitted to this on national press in Israel. They armed and funded Al Qaeda against the Bashar al-Assad government in Syria during the dirty war that the U.S. and the U.K. were financing there. But if Hamas
and ISIS too, at
and
the same time.
ISIS too, that's true, Daesh. If Hamas wants to create an Islamic State by their own doctrine, I don't care. I mean, I'm an American. Why should I care? If Israel ceases to exist, okay, I'm supposed to be outraged. No, I'm not outraged by that. Why would I care? I mean, like I'm trying to get a hamburger at 7 p.m. I'm trying to wake up, eat my steak and eggs as an American. I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to live my life, work out. I don't care if Israel is a country or not. I mean, there's literally no impact on my life. In fact, the only impact on my life is maybe Arab countries are going to be a little bit more friendly with the U.S. and the Saudis aren't going to try and screw us over on oil prices, and Iran isn't going to try to screw us over on oil prices, and maybe Arabs won't be so mad at the U.S. anymore. So I think, if anything, that would be a net positive if Israel ceased to exist. And without U.S. funding, it will definitely cease to exist.
Yo, Jackson, why do you
You
why
gotta,
do
you
you
gotta,
Well, the
why
well, you gotta let
response
us,
to
Nelson. You
Jackson
gotta let us
is
jump
that
in.
Let's definitely get Yehuda. Yehuda, I'm pretty sure you disagree with that, man. Let's talk about it.
Brother, I've been disagreeing since this guy started talking, man. I mean, and I hope I've got enough base for you. Look, let's call a spade a spade. You could talk, you have opinions, and that's great, but you need to qualify those opinions. Being a talking head on the internet, some of us have spent 20 years in national security, and I'm shocked because not a damn word that man has said, this Jason Hinkle, has rung true to me. It's strange. Now, he should care if Israel ceases to exist, number one. Number two, I don't want to get into that. Let's go back to your actual question, a genocide in Gaza. Let's make it clear. On the 6th of October, how many Israelis were in Gaza? The grand number is 0, brother. 0. There was no one there. Hamas started something that they couldn't finish. That's all it is, pure and simple. You can shill, you can make jokes and root for Russia. I don't know what you think, but I do. I'm not an American, by the way. Jonathan, you made a comment about EU money. Jackson didn't want to answer it. Let me answer it for you. The EU is one of the biggest donors to the Gazan government. That's Hamas. So the EU educates, it feeds, it clothes, it provides health services to the Gazan people. So when someone says they don't support the people in Gaza, they're lying or they just don't know. I think it's actually the latter. He doesn't know. So they do support it. And now, after Hamas committed the biggest pogrom, the biggest murder of Jewish people, you don't have to like Jews, you don't have to like Israel, but you can't ignore the reality. It's the biggest murder of Jewish people since World War II. Jews burned in ovens, women raped and murdered. You don't have to like Israel, but you have to be a human being to care. And if you want to side and shill for Hamas because you get a paycheck from the Kremlin or you get a paycheck from the CCP, that's great. Just call it out. Just be straight up, bro. Straight up. That's your thing. That's your gig. You make the dollars. You pay for those steak and eggs in the morning. Pay for the OnlyFans girlfriends, all that stuff. That's good. But just don't pretend that you're doing this because you think it's the right thing. And that's all I got to say. The Gaza genocide is based on Hamas using Gazans as shields. Israeli soldiers don't put IDF bases in kindergartens because they don't want their kids to die. The currency of Hamas is Palestinian lives. Is it a crap sandwich? Absolutely. Does Israel plan to eradicate Hamas's operational capabilities? From a military perspective, that's exactly what they're doing. They're in Gaza. You can live in a fantasy land. You can live in La La Land and think the Israelis are going to lose in Gaza. But you know what I say? Let's have this space, Nelson, in a month. You'll see Hamas's operational capabilities will have been degraded to a level that it will not be able to function. Already currently, his buddy Yahya Sinwar is in a bunker, dislocated. His C2 command and control nodes have been cut off from his commanders. Give it some time. The Israelis are now surrounding the Sheba hospital. It's the main Hamas headquarters in Gaza. It's where all the terror tunnels lead to. It's got multi-layers of tunnels. The Israelis intend to cut it off. They intend to go secure and clear sector by sector, whatever tunnels they come across, and they intend to eradicate Hamas in the operational capability sense. It's a straw man when people say, well, we can't destroy Hamas's ideology. Of course not. You can't destroy what's in people's minds, but you certainly can destroy their ability to commit terror. The United States, as Jonathan said, they are heroes. You know, I'm not American and I'm saying this. I grew up annoyed. You stole all our hockey teams from Canada. You know, you took NFL. Gosh, see, we have CFL. I'm embarrassed to share with you that. But the reality is America is on the right side of history here. America does want global peace. America does want the world to be a good, happy place because as Jackson, right? The oil prices, global security, stock markets, happiness index, wealth for the people, that is a priority. And that priority isn't met by being a maniacal fanboy for a psychotic Russian dictator or a psychotic Chinese dictator. And trust me, you want to be a minority in China? You want to be a minority in Russia? Try being a black man in Russia. Try being a black man in China. Come back and tell me how it's like. Because in the meantime, all of this is
a black man in Gaza.
Black man in Gaza. Trust me, doesn't work. So, call it for what it was. All of the EU supports, up until the 7th of October, EU, they bankrolled Hamas's opportunities, Hamas's operations for their people in Gaza. And as brother, what's his name? Jonathan was telling us, the poorest guy in Hamas's leadership in Qatar is only worth $3 billion with a B dollars. What is that? What are you defending? What's your resistance from poverty? Extreme, I only have $3 billion, bro. Guess what? It's a joke. It's clowning around. And thank you, Nelson. Man, I need a Xan. I've never even had one, but if I could have one now,
definitely need a Xanax.
I will send me, brother, because I'm wound up like a clock. But I mean, I appreciate you letting me speak. I heard about this.
Jackson should pay for your Xanax, man.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah. Well, he's got enough of that money. Give me some of that Russian money, bro.
Well, I definitely want to hear a different
Nelson,
side.
if I can 10 seconds. About the money issue, man, we subscribe to his X Premium and he is banned all other monetary channels, YouTube, Facebook, etc. I appeal to every American, subscribe to his Premium X channel for $3 only. He needs our support, like Glenn Greenwald. or anybody, independent journalist in
Dude,
the
what are
United
you, a
States who are
spokesman?
shut
What are
off
you, a
from other
spokesman?
platforms. We
What are
need to
you?
subscribe.
For
We
yes.
need to support. We need to empower. We need their voices. Thank you. Thank you, Yehuda.
I'll give you
For yes. Stop
$3 to
sucking
not
him
come
off,
on.
bro. Come on, bro. He's a grown ass man.
I have been following him for 5, 6 years. Okay, so I haven't just come to know him. Okay.
No,
$3 is
100%.
$3.
But I definitely want to listen. Okay, Yehuda, when you were speaking, I know you were speaking passionately, my brother, but it was a lot of people in the room that were putting a thumbs down emoji, right? It was a lot of people in the room that were disagreeing with everything you were saying, despite the fact that you were saying it so passionately, right? And I definitely want the other side to jump in and respond to all the stuff you just said right now, right?
100%, brother.
So, I mean, I see Faraz with his hand. Let's go to Faraz real quick, right? Faraz, what are your thoughts about what that brother just said?
How you doing, Nelson? So, what's going on in Gaza is a genocide. Let's talk about it. So, basically, uh, what's happening right now is that Israel's priority is not to commit a genocide. Israel's priority is ethnic cleansing. They'd rather that the Palestinians just leave their homes, leave our historical homeland, our indigenous homeland, and just go somewhere else, And this is how Israel was founded. It was founded on the premise of building a Jewish homeland in Palestine. So it was always at the Palestinians' expense. What's sad about that is Jewish people historically for the last 2,000 years have been suffering mostly around in Europe, being pogromed and pushed around. And, that's where that animosity towards, or let's say that's where that protectiveness towards creating their own Jewish state comes from, and that sensitivity. And especially it came at a climax after the Holocaust. Um, and that was supported by a lot of European countries as well. But the problem with that was that came at the expense of Palestinians and Palestine, and myself included, my whole family included. So the state of Israel was basically founded on ethnic cleansing and genocide with the Nakba in 1948. Now, the narrative, the way they justify this is by saying that basically they were wanted to throw the Jews into the sea and all of that type of self-defense rhetoric that you still hear till today. And what's completely wrong and ahistorical about that is that basically European Jewish Zionists for decades have been planning to basically openly say that they want to colonize Palestine. And they had a bunch of other options that were floated around, but due to the Jewish kind of significance of a lot of holy sites for Jews in Palestine, seemed like the most logical perspective. And what you're seeing today is no different than what's been happening for the last 75 years. It's just an extension of that. October 7th was just a catalyst for that type of event. When you have a people who are living under complete oppression and an apartheid state, essentially by a state that openly says they want you out and they want to build their state at our expense, and I'll even give you a quote saying this specific government is the most racist, messianic, and Kahanist government we've ever had. Kahanist referring to Meir Kahane, which is basically like saying the Jewish KKK. That's a quote from Israeli opposition minister Karina Al-Harar. So she's also an Israeli Jewish opposition minister, talking about how basically fanatic this current government is. So now they basically tried to roll out a plan where the first policies that they took were collective punishment against the Palestinians by cutting off food, water, electricity. That should have made it pretty clear to a lot of people that how could someone just, if they can say, that argument that we pulled out of Gaza, how could you turn off the water, food, electricity, and medical supplies to Gaza if you didn't control Gaza? That's because it's been under siege, while East Jerusalem and the West Bank have been basically getting colonized, and there's been over 250 people killed just since January, hundreds in the year before, hundreds in the year before. And this has been the policy. This has been the same thing that's been going on for 75 years. Settler colonialism. It's basically, we're seeing the let's say, the last stages of it's nearing post-Zionism, actually, because it's at a point where they're destroying themselves because they want to go for a zero-sum game, all or nothing type of approach, which is really not in their interest. They could have called it quits and said, you know what, we'll just stay at the 1967 lines and make peace with the Palestinians, and then they would have secured their future as a as a Jewish state. But since now they've been heading towards, taking the whole land and trying to ethnically cleanse the Palestinians, like myself, who still live in Palestine, I'm under threat as well. It's essentially something that's not shocking to anyone, because when you try to colonize an indigenous people and ethnically cleanse them from their land, and while people are under occupation, international law and any human decency and human sense says that you have a right to resist and you will resist. There are no people who will be subjugated, oppressed by a foreign army trying to take their land, kill them, subjugate them, and give them essentially no rights, while there's a government that you can't vote for and have no recourse over between the river to the sea that dictates and controls every aspect of our lives.
Can I say something real quick? Because you said, if they cut off the electricity, then you can't say that they don't occupy. Correct? That's what you said. If someone doesn't occupy, then they shouldn't have they don't have the right to turn off the electricity. How can they get turn off you made that point, correct?
No, that's not what I was saying. I said it should have been an indicator for people that when they can just turn off the electricity and water and food and completely, at a with a decision, with a flip of a switch, that basically that they don't control that territory, essentially. So their blockade is something worse. And I would like to add another thing, Jonathan, is that
I
there
just want to make
are
a point.
black
That
Palestinians,
one
by
second.
the
I just
way.
want to make this point. Then I want you to respond to it because I want to make my point. The Russians are able to turn off their gas to Europe, okay, and they threaten to turn off the natural gas to Europe, that pipeline to Europe. So what does that say? Because once again, because another country, provides a product or a service to that country, doesn't mean that they necessarily control that country. I just want to put that out there because the Russians, in terms of getting the natural gas to Germany and the UK and everything else, okay, and that was a big threat coming into this winter. All right, going into this winter, that was out there. So, are you saying that the Russians, control those countries? I just
Yeah.
want to know.
So let me answer your question, because and just it's important to talk about the difference between that. Europe and, let's say, even Ukraine, I'm not sure if they buy gas from them, but they essentially buy gas from Russia, and they can choose to buy gas from any other country in the world because they're a sovereign state. They control their borders. They get to basically import, export whatever they want from their own state. Gaza, basically, Gaza, does not is not allowed to import or control their infrastructure. So the electricity, there is an electricity power plant that the Palestinian Authority tried to build in the 1990s, and it was demolished by the Israelis in 2001. Like the airport as well, like the
That's not
Palestinian
true.
airport.
That's absolutely not
So,
true. You're
no,
lying.
that is true.
No,
That
you're
is
lying.
100%. You
May
can
I?
look at the fact.
I can look it
You
up.
can look at the Google.
I'm
You can
sorry.
let me
I'm
Let him
sorry,
finish
man.
though.
Thank you.
One mic policy. One mic policy.
Yeah, you can rebut it. So Gaza has been completely blockaded for 17 years, and Israel controls even the Rafah border between Egypt and Gaza is controlled by Israel because it's part of the Egyptian and Israeli peace agreement. So not a single fly can go into the border. Now they can try and build a tunnel and try to sneak some stuff in underground, but legally and in terms of actual, like, proper policy, they can't really bring any goods or services in without Israeli approval, which is why that blockade is essentially crushing the Palestinian economy and life. That's why they still live on 2G. And that's why Palestinians have no recourse. And if you look at the West Bank, where I live, or East Jerusalem, it's more of the same. We live in Bantustans, and I'll quote Desmond Tutu when he came to visit the occupied Palestinian territories. He said, "This is worse than the apartheid that we suffered under apartheid South Africa." And just one more point, Jonathan. there are black Palestinians. So there are black Palestinians in Gaza and in Jericho. So, and they're part of Palestinian society, and they're not discriminated against. So, unlike the black Israelis. So let me
Oh
just
my
say.
God. May I please jump in? Is he done?
Real quick though, but before you jump in, we got to get the audience engaged in this debate as well, right? So for you guys in the audience right now, that gentleman that just spoke, if you agree with everything he just said right now, I need you to type the word absolutely in a chat. So hit that chat feature at the bottom right corner of the page, respond to the tweet of this space, and say absolutely if you agree with everything that gentleman just said. If you disagree, right, because it's a debate space, I need you to type the letters BS, right? Stands for Jonathan Bing, but BS. Type BS in the chat right now if you disagree with everything that gentleman just said right now. So hit that chat feature, bottom right corner, respond to the tweet of the space, and let's talk about it. But Yehuda, man, we got to get some, get some bass in your voice, man.
Just one comment. Let me make this. Look,
I mean,
all
you're
I ask.
crying all over the microphone and
I'm
shit.
crying.
I'm like, God
Listen,
damn.
I won't cry anymore. Let me beg the audience to do one thing. Don't believe me. Don't believe Firas and his Lord of the Rings story. Just Google it yourself. Go on the internet, read a book, go to the library. That is probably the most one-sided view of history I've ever heard, and it's unacceptable. And you know what, brother? I want to say one thing. You said I got a lot of thumbs down. You know who else got a lot of thumbs down? Martin Luther King. A lot of people didn't like
That's
what
a
he had to say.
fact.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
How
saying. All
could
right.
you, man? How could you, Yehuda, compare yourself to Martin
I mean, you
Luther
got all the
King right
black people
now?
about to
Shameless,
storm your
shameless.
DMs and cuss you out. But it's all good. It's all good though. So listen. So I asked earlier, is Hamas a terrorist group? Right? We had that debate. Okay. The last debate was, is there genocide in Gaza? Now we're about to get to this. Is the IDF a terrorist organization? Now, for everybody in the room, if you're on stage, just mute out for a second. If for everybody in the room, if you believe the IDF is a terrorist organization, I need you to put the thumbs up emoji on your avatar right now. Thumbs up emoji on your avatar right now. If you disagree with that, if you think that's bullshit, put the thumbs down emoji on your avatar right now. Thumbs down emoji if you disagree with that. Okay. Now, I'm going to go to somebody on stage that disagrees, and then we're going to toss it to somebody that agrees, right? So, Adam, I want to hear your perspective, brother. You disagree that the IDF is a terrorist organization. Let's talk about it.
It's not a terrorist organization. What is the definition of a terrorist organization? What are the actions that they utilize specifically in order to try and forward and progress their ideology and their intentions? Everybody wants to talk about how the populace of Gaza are being quote unquote massacred, and I think Yehuda said it really well. The fact of the matter is, reports of individuals from individuals in Gaza that reported how Hamas and its organization was firing on Palestinian civilians as they were trying to flee the region and get out of that area. And so to have this conversation or even suggest for a moment that the IDF is a terrorist organization or a terrorist affiliated organization goes right back to anti-Semitic and anti-Zionist principles. The difference between this is the other thing. There's Muslims that live in Israel. There's Palestinian Arabs that live in Israel that don't live in either Gaza or the West Bank. And they live there and they live there peacefully and they live there and they pursue their life, they pursue their choices, they have a voice in the government. These things are real things in the area. And so to say specifically that the IDF, one, is a terrorist organization and go further and beyond that and say, well, Israel and the United States are terrorist organizations because they support. One of the things that got missed, and Yehuda said it very well, the EU has dumped a crap ton of money into Gaza and funded Hamas. Guess what, guys? So has the United States. The United States has provided billions of dollars, not only directly to Gaza and the quote unquote Palestinian Authority, specifically getting it taken, like then Hamas takes that money and funnels that money and launders that money for themselves. I mean, ultimately, a terrorist organization is designed to utilize violent extremist actions against civilian populists in order to terrorize people to shift their ideology. That's all about perpetuating a specific ideology. Further, if we look at Hamas specifically, they've always said from their freaking formation in 1987 by the Muslim Brotherhood, they've always said the same thing. They desire an Islamic state and the utter destruction of Israel, the utter destruction of all of Israel. They want an entire Islamic state. And they're willing, and Hamas is willing to utilize terror operations to enact those ends. We've seen it multiple times. We've seen it, guys, you can't deny it. We've seen it in Oslo during the Oslo Accords. We saw it in 2000, a second time out of country, not even in Gaza or in Israel, but outside of that region entirely. So to say that the IDF is a terrorist organization is fucking madness, excuse my language. And to denounce, not to denounce, and not to at least identify the actual, you don't get to say a resistance fighter is, okay, pause 1 second. There's a conversation being had about individuals that support Palestine that specifically say they see the Hamas as a resistance organization. They're resisting. Tell me something then. If they're resisting, does that give the resistance organization permission to outright rape women after taking their children and putting their children in microwaves and ovens, and then raping them while their parents?
Total lies. That is a
Let me
lie.
finish.
That is a lie.
First of all, I don't care who you are. You think it's a lie. That's great. You think it's a lie because you support a terrorist organization. You're a terrorist sympathizer. The fact of the matter is that
God
we've seen
damn.
this
I
happen
support the
first.
freedom fighters.
We've had.
I
I don't care.
support
Hey,
any
one
freedom
mic, bro.
fighter
One
any day.
mic. It's one mic. It's cool. You can be quiet. When I'm done, you can rebut it. But until then, just keep your terrorist sympathies to yourself. And then when I'm done speaking, you can put your terrorist sympathizer words out there. The fact of
Murder.
the matter is that we're watching it firsthand. So, is there a comparison between Hamas and the IDF? Absolutely not. There's reports. They're not just reports, they're firsthand witness reports that are coming from both sides to say that Hamas are utilizing these tactics, these brutal, beastly tactics in order to forward their ideology. And if you support Hamas, then you are a terrorist sympathizer. It's pretty straightforward.
I definitely want to get Jackson's opinion on this, right? Because he probably disagrees with everything that just came out of your mouth right now. You know what I'm saying? So definitely want to get your perspective. Jack, let's talk about it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I got to run in a minute, but I'll say that the numbers speak for themselves. Each conflict that's broken out between Israel and Gaza, Hamas, whatever, however you want to phrase it, the numbers speak for themselves. It's always like 5x, 10x the number of KIA and injured, Gazans compared to Israelis. And it's asymmetric warfare. It's terrorism. This guy's talking about terrorist sympathies. You're the terrorist sympathizer. You're sympathizing with this terrorist state. The reason why, and if you haven't listened to anything, here's the most important part of this entire space. The reason why Israel is worse than ISIS, Al Qaeda, Al Nusra, Jaish al Islam, Hayat Tahrir al Sham, all these groups, the reason why Israel is worse than all of them combined is because the U.S. funds them to the tune of billions and billions and billions of dollars each and every year. We just gave them $14 billion. That'd be the equivalent of providing a more, I guess, ideologically refined version of ISIS with $14 billion and letting them go, rampage on a population of 2 million civilians that are entrapped and can't leave. That's the equivalent of what we're doing right now. So, yeah, I think anyone who is holding these, terror sympathies with Israel, they should go pick up a rifle and be forced to fight with the Israelis.
Been there,
Unfo-
done that, Jackson. The fact that you've never been
Okay,
there and
well,
have never done that
the
doesn't give you much of a
unfortunate the
space to be able to
unfortunate
actually.
thing is you weigh 400 pounds and probably couldn't make it last 3 days in the war right now. You'd be in a tank section. You get blown up by Hamas in about 5 minutes. But the last thing I'll say for right now is that even Netanyahu's own son, he's chilling with me in Miami. He's down here in Miami Beach. He's not out there fighting. So why is he sending all these little TikTok warriors, these LGBTQ warriors, to go fight on the front? They're getting slaughtered out there by Hamas. It's really sick and twisted when you strip it down and you think about what's really happening. You have these TikTok LGBTQ fighters sent to go and slaughter civilians in Gaza. Meanwhile, they're getting slaughtered left and right. There's 60 plus tanks blown up. These tanks are multi-million dollars in taxpayer funds. People say, where do our taxes go? They go to the Iron Dome and Israeli tanks that are millions and millions of dollars, billions of dollars each year, and they get blown up by like $300 Hamas, makeshift homemade missiles. So that's what I got to say about it. I think also, anyone who is holding sympathies with the terrorist state of Israel, I think that they if the laws were just in this country, they'd be put in prison. They'd be put in a gulag or something. They'd be sent to northern Alaska, and they'd be working on some sort of a trans-American Russian railway system or something. They'd be put to forced labor. It's sick what we have in this country. No justice.
That's amazing. You know what? I would love to find out who pays you, because tonight you've earned your money. You truly have earned your money. You've earned your money in a way that's very hard to consider, considering the very specific thing of first of all, I love the fact that you're outright supporting Russia. You're outright supporting China. You're outright supporting
Wait,
terrorism.
Adam.
And he lives
I'm
in
sorry for
America.
interrupting.
Hey, Adam,
I
can
just
I
have one
respond
question
to
for Adam. I have one
Jackson?
question for Adam. Adam,
Hold on, why did I get muted on that one?
I don't know. I got to run, but I got a question for you because I think you have an interesting perspective. So I just you said that you've fought in Israel.
Oh no, I've picked up my rifle and fought against terror organizations. I know exactly what they look
Oh,
like, how they function, and how they operate. I've been to Israel and I've been to regions in Israel, met with wonderful people there, interacted with the IDF, interacted with both Muslims and Jews in Israel, both sides. I've
Yeah.
interacted with good people both directions. But I've also not just been there; I've been all over the world.
Wait,
So
so where have you fought terrorists?
I fought terrorists in Afghanistan. I fought terrorists in other regions of the world, Southeast Asia, Central South America, in Africa. I've been all over the world doing this job, dude. I fought
Surrendering
terrorists
their
all over the
homes.
world.
Wait, so which terrorists did you fight in Afghanistan?
If you are attempting to try and go to a point to say, "Oh, well, you fought against terrorists that were generated or supported by X, Y, and Z," look,
No.
dude,
I'm not. I'm
terrorist
on it. I'm
organizations,
not.
terrorist
I'm not.
organizations are
I'm on it. I'm just. I'm just at. This is how
uh,
This
the
is how much
Taliban,
of a
Al Qaeda,
snowflake you are.
the Taliban,
So
Al Qaeda,
I'm an
ISIS,
American patriot.
as well as
My
other.
my
Go ahead.
my my ancestors sailed here on the Mayflower. I'm asking where are my taxpayer dollars going? Where did you go fight terrorists in Afghanistan? Which terrorists did you fight in Afghanistan?
Well, we fought the Taliban, Al Qaeda, and individuals who claimed to be ISIS but didn't really have any foothold as ISIS
So
in Afghanistan. That was in Afghanistan.
you think that the Taliban pose some sort of like a serious threat to the United States?
Afghanistan in general specifically poses a large serious threat to the United States. It
What's
actually
that?
poses a large serious threat to all Western nations. And the reason why is because one, prior to the invasion in Afghanistan early on, they were a terrorist training ground. And we know that for a fact because intelligence has demonstrated and shown us that operatives that were trained in Afghanistan because they had free game and free reign to do what they wanted. It wasn't the Taliban that was the problem. It was all the other Muslim Brotherhood and other organizations that used Afghanistan as a safe haven, which is what's happening now. After we pulled out of Afghanistan, we saw an immediate reversion back to the original aspect of what Afghanistan was, which is a safe haven for terrorists. And we see it firsthand. We have good sound intelligence and good sound reporting that shows us the organizations that are currently residing in
I know,
Afghanistan and
but
gone back to.
you said that you picked up arms and fought. I mean, I don't think that the Taliban are terrorists. And you also said you fought Al Qaeda. According to National Security Advisor in the Biden administration, Jake Sullivan.
But you said the Biden administration doesn't count.
But he said that, but formally under the Obama administration,
Also doesn't count.
when he was serving under the Obama administration, he said Al Qaeda is on our side in Syria. And he
Yeah, Al
said that
Qaeda's
in
not
an
on
email
anybody's
to
side
Hillary
but their
Clinton.
own. They are a self-interested driven organization. And the
Uh,
and the former
but we support Israel. Israel and the U.S. supported Al Qaeda in Syria.
Well, of course, because obviously,
Of course.
why wouldn't we utilize an organization that we want to be
Well,
dead anyway in a
so
combat operation that could ultimately kill them in the process of killing our enemy? That's
no, I'm saying
geopolitics 101, dude. That's
I'm, sa-
geopolitics 101.
I'm
Like the
saying the
fact that you don't
U.S.
realize this just indicates your
No,
lack of understanding of geopolitical
buddy,
considerations when it comes to
low
utilization of.
bro, low bro. The U.S. and
Did you say little bro? Jackson,
Low
my
bro,
friend,
low bro. Listen, Israel actually not only armed and funded Al Qaeda in Syria, they also provided medical aid for Al Qaeda and ISIS in Syria. They didn't want them to die. They wanted them to defeat Bashar al-Assad.
of course they
So
did, but they also wanted them to die. It went hand in hand.
why did Israel provide medical aid to Al Qaeda?
Because they wanted them to die, Jackson. Come on, you don't know that?
Soft hand tinkle. I like it. Have you fought
Hey,
before, Jackson?
Yes, I fight the information war each and every
Have you
day. And
ever
you know what?
fought like a man?
No, wait,
I
Jackson.
actually, no,
Aren't
no. Here's a good point. Here's a good
6 or
point.
7 years
This is no,
ago?
no, no. This is a good point because someone said, "Did you fought Jackson? Would you fight?" My ancestors fought in the American Revolution, the
Did you
Civil
fight?
War, the War of 1812, and I happily would pick up arms and go fight for my country in liberating and annexing Canada. I think we should actually liberate
Do it.
Canada.
Come on
Yeah,
up. The last time we fought, we burned your White House down. I see you rebuilt it. Looks pretty nice, Jackson.
yeah, but you lost the naval war and you were entirely funded by the Brits. You weren't even a country at that time, so you're actually taking a huge L on that one. Did you know Canada wasn't a country
Mm.
then?
Yeah, I'm
God
pretty
damn.
sure.
What the
Yeah, yeah, Jackson. Soft hands
Yo,
hinkle.
Your handlers, but I
Soft
don't
hands
think they did
man,
a good
hinkle.
job
listen,
of
we
that
got a lot
impression.
of bombs dropping on this thing. God
Jackson,
damn.
just go report to your handlers and let them
Shit.
know that you did a great job trying to spread your propaganda tonight. Whoever's paying you, man, they're getting their money's worth tonight.
Come up to Canada,
Solid effort
Jackson.
on your
We'll show
propaganda.
you a barbecue.
Man, but let's be honest, Yehuda, Canada ain't doing shit. I mean, come on, man.
Hey, hey, hey! Don't start! Don't
I'm
start.
just
We're
being
nice.
honest, bro. Like,
We're nice
come
people.
on, man.
Hey, hey! We took
Canada is our little
Michigan.
sister, bro. Like, you know what I'm
Whoa!
saying?
Wow,
I mean,
bro.
we protect our little sister, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just
Listen,
being
we,
real,
we
bro.
we 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 took Michigan and we gave it back. Now that was
Cap.
probably you
You
know what I
weren't
mean.
a country. You weren't a
You
country.
we're Upper
You were
Canada,
not a
bro. We were
country.
Upper Canada, Jackson. Read a book. I know you don't have them down there. Maybe you and Yair Netanyahu can hang out and
Wait,
read a
Nah,
book
hey,
I mean,
together.
Yehuda, let's just settle this once and for all. You said Canada defeated the U.S. in the War of 1812. When did Canada become a country?
So you do realize Canadians were in
Wait, wait,
Canada in
wait,
the
wait, wait. Just
1700s.
answer
When
the
was
question.
Confederation? Confederation was in 1867.
So
The
how
War of
did Canada?
1812, because Canadians lived in Canada before we declared independence, ding dong.
No, it
Come
was a
on.
no.
Oh, come on.
It was
Jackson.
Britain. It was under
Jackson,
the
give the.
crown,
Hey,
and you still are under the crown. And I'll make this statement here, and let history be the judge, and let God be the judge. Before I die, I will ride into Canada on a tank and liberate it and bring it into the United States formally.
I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
all we should
Jackson.
have
Let me
said
ask you something,
about
man.
Jackson, bro.
Mike Jackson.
I
Let me ask
think
you something,
that
Jackson.
explains
One mic, bro.
everything.
One mic, bro. Jackson, I got a quick question for you. Who do you get your shit from? Because you got some good weed. Because you be up here just saying some shit that like you got some good weed, bro. You talking about riding in on the tank and bringing Canada into the United States? Why would we want that problem? First of all, foremost, that, where do you buy your shit, bro?
Well,
Walgreens.
I'm not degenerate scum like you. I don't smoke weed every day, but I think
Whoa.
I think
God
I don't.
damn. Holy fuck.
No wonder he got banned
Hey,
off the
yo.
Nelson, 6, 7 years ago,
Retweet the
Jackson.
space, man. We're
Wait,
going crazy.
But
God
Nelson,
damn.
I'll answer your
Nelson,
question. Your question,
six or 7
your
years
question. Wait,
ago.
wait, wait. Your question was, why do we want that smoke from? First of all, Canada doesn't got any smoke. Second of all, why do we want Canada? Because our founding fathers, my ancestors, they said manifest destiny is not complete until we take Canada. Canada is a
What?
British. Canada, that's true. Canada is a British proxy pawn that is used against the U.S. and will be used against the U.S. in the future. And also, I mean, look at who's leading their government. Trudeau, all these parliamentarians, they just hosted a Waffen SS Nazi in their parliament a few weeks ago. And now they're out here championing the cause of the Israeli people like they're friends of Jews. It couldn't be further from the truth. They just honored a Nazi and gave him 2 standing ovations. They're pushing this radical euthanasia policy. They're killing off their own civilians, radical gender policy. America must liberate Canada.
Come on
Yeah,
up.
you know what?
I'm waiting for you,
One mic,
Jackson.
guys. Jackson, and I'll let it go after this. You're either one or two things. You're either dumb as hell or dumb as fuck. You really are. You're either dumb as hell or dumb as fuck. I don't know which one you are, but you're one of them. I yield.
He's a businessman. He's
with the
making
shit
money,
ton
bro.
with the shit ton of followers.
But listen, Jackson Hinkle, 7 years ago, he was the head of his high school's environmental club. He has no real background. He has no real knowledge or understanding. He's never fought in a friggin' war. He never will.
In
He
Tehran,
dates,
you know what's
wait
interesting
up,
about Tehran? Tehran
excuse
is
me,
an
I'm not
Tehran.
finished.
Tehran
Can I
is
finish or do you
Tehran is
not
an
let people
8-year-old
speak?
hag.
Do
who
you?
hasn't changed
Oh,
her
He
views
doesn't
since
let
she
people
came out
speak.
of a crack
do you
addict
not?
mother's
Hey,
You.
womb.
Adam, good to talk to you.
It's you
Anyway,
two.
he doesn't let people speak because he wants to do this. He's dating a Miss Russia. I think we all know where he's probably getting his money from, but who cares?
What's wrong with
What
a
is he?
Miss Russia?
Nothing's wrong. She's actually
Yeah,
quite
that's
attractive.
smart right there, Tara. I
Yeah,
called him that.
she's
That's
got.
smart.
You goddamn right, that's smart.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
you
you
Goddamn,
go.
lost
what's wrong
everyone.
Listen,
with
You
listen.
that?
lost everyone on that, Tira.
She
God
is
damn.
quite. Listen, she's quite attractive. Good on you. That's all great, but he has no knowledge, no anything. So why does he get this sort of platform? It's really interesting to me. And he's ageist. Clearly, the stuff he's saying. Oh, his ancestors came up from the Mayflower. Who gives a damn? What have
I
you
do.
done? What
I
have
do.
you done?
I
Nothing.
actually care about
Zero.
my
Bull.
He
ancestors.
talks on
I
the internet.
respect my ancestors. I honor their legacy. And look, Tara, I have no idea who you are, who gave you some pronounced authority over me. I mean, you're acting like you're somehow superior to me. God said, all men were created equal. And at the end of the day, God also recognized that literally every problem on this earth is your fault because you ate an apple. You were literally formed out of my rib. So I don't know why you're talking all high and mighty when it's like we should all be treating each other equally and fairly.
Because she's a
And
Yo,
woman.
and you
Really?
come
Okay.
You're
you
gonna
you
go
come
there?
after
yo,
and then you come after my beautiful fiance. It's like what's up with that? So I don't know what your beef is with me, but I just ask a little respect.
You haven't done anything to deserve respect. You have monetized yourself wonderfully. Congratulations on that. But basically, you have done nothing to earn respect. As I said, 7 years ago, you're in high school in San Clemente or wherever it was, running your school's environmental club. You're really not
Tara, are you
qualified.
doxing? Are you doxing on the stage, Tara?
No, no,
We
he's.
all know.
Well, everybody knows. Look
I
him
didn't
up.
know that.
You didn't know that? Go look him
He
up.
No,
He
I
was the
doesn't
didn't.
have.
LGBT. He was the LGBTQ leader at his school.
What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, go back to Canada with your Trudeau stand politics.
Yeah,
Okay,
come on your
and,
tank. I'll be waiting at the border, bruh.
No, I
okay.
mean, bro, you ain't
Low
doing.
bra, low
But
bra.
let's be honest. Yehuda, I was rocking with you when we're talking Israel Palestine, but Canada. I mean, bro, you ain't doing nothing with that maple syrup, brother.
Exactly.
I'm
No.
just being honest, bro. I'm just being honest, though, bro. I've always said this for years. Canada is
Exactly.
little sis, bro. Like, come on, man.
Nelson, you
Let's.
can't take it
Oh.
away. You can't take away from JTF2. JTF2 is the Canadian Tier 1 Special Operations element, and they were very shortly into Afghanistan after the initial entry from 3rd Group and 5th Group into Afghanistan.
Come on, bro. I
I,
mean,
I
compared to our special
personally,
forces,
personally,
No,
I think,
hey,
I think,
listen,
I think
Nelson, listen.
JTF2 would be happy to join America. And what I'll say also is, I do have to run, but I'll say, long live the people of Gaza, long live Bashar al-Assad, long live Kim Jong Un, long live
Yo,
Vladimir
he gets.
Putin,
This is a chap who
and
said,
God
"Based out
bless
Okay.
Al-Assad."
America.
Did
God
he
bless
say
America.
long live Kim Jong Un?
Yep, yep.
man. Listen,
Stop
man.
music.
Shout out to Jackson Hinkle jumping in
No,
this
cunt, fuck
debate.
him over. He's a piece of shit.
Hey man,
Can we just do that? Thank you.
listen. Listen. You can't debate a man talking about his Russian supermodel, man. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, that
You
right there,
know,
you lost that one.
I
I'm
mean,
like,
you
yeah,
definitely lost that
yeah, you
shit.
made me, yeah, you made me a little envious of his ass and shit. I just called him all.
But
So
you
All
know
right.
what?
he's
But
But
you know what?
what I was trying to say, Nelson, is
But my bad. My
he has
fingers twitching.
connections with Russia. Okay,
Exactly.
that's all I'm
Man,
saying.
come on,
He
bro.
has serious connections with Russia.
You're not getting connections with Russia by tweeting on fucking X. I mean, the fuck. Like, come on,
no,
bro.
no, Nelson. I can speak to that because I actually
Crazy.
do have connections in Russia since I
You
Nelson,
don't
actually
have no goddamn
witnessed
connections in
the
Russia, goddamn it. Come on. Listen, let me reset the space. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is a debate between pro-Palestinians, pro-Israelis. We do this every single goddamn night. If you're enjoying the show, definitely encourage you to give a follow to Tally, Jonathan, and myself, and turn the notification. Debate, right? We're talking Palestine, we're talking Israel, okay? We're talking Netanyahu, and we're talking Hamas. We're talking genocide and no genocide. We're talking IDF terrorists or IDF not. Not a terrorist. Let's get back to the debate. By the way, if you're in
I'm not saying that, but please massage my ego. But I actually have work experience. I'm not going to tell you how to do your job as a realtor, Nelson. I'm not going to tell you how to do your job as a fantastic entertainment.
Why are you obsessed with the guy's
put me down,
girlfriend?
man. Put me down.
It's not about. It's
Why are
not
you
about being
obsessed with
obsessed
his
about his
girlfriend?
girlfriend.
Goddamn it!
It's more
Yo, I'll
just.
take
What's
Miss
your
C in
deal?
Russia or Miss Black
What's your
Russia,
deal?
whoever. Just send me. Just put me down.
I mean, goddamn, leave his girlfriend alone. Like the
No,
fuck she
it's
got
not
to
about
do
his
with this?
girlfriend. It's more. I'm just trying to provide some context
Get
as
to
to
the
sort of
motherfucking
the.
IDF, bro. Let's have a debate. I mean, he's
No,
talking
but
about his
it's not
girlfriend.
about that. It's about he doesn't. He has no. He has no legitimacy. He may well represent the Palestinian cause, which is fine, but he has no class. He has no decorum. He has no just filter.
Bro, respectfully, you're
But
talking about.
Peter, you spend a lot of time arguing, going back and forth. If he had none of that, then why did you waste your time?
I mean, goddamn right.
Because he insults me and people who actually do care about this subject. Yehuda may well be on one side of this matter, but he has military experience, and it's an insult to listen to someone who is 24 years old, who lives in fucking America, Miami, who's never been to Israel, let alone the
Okay.
Russian Federation.
Let's not do aging, okay? Because I'm 27, by
No,
the
but
way, right?
he doesn't have experience.
Let,
He
let,
talks
let's
about this
let's
as
be
if he
real.
has.
Let's be real. This is 2023, right? There are a lot of
It's
young
about
people killing
ageism.
shit today. Okay.
Ageism is something that is based on experience. The point I'm trying to make is that he talks from a place of experience, authority, when he has absolutely none whatsoever. He talks to me about working in the World Bank. Yes, it may be an organization you don't like, but it gives me a perspective that very few people may have. And therefore, if you're truly wanting to understand diplomacy, you have to work in these circles to at least understand that. I mean, Lev is giving me 100% thing, and me and Lev disagree on the Russia-Ukraine war in certain areas. So it's just Jackson is just an insult to anybody of decency and intelligence. And Jonathan, I know it's entertainment.
You know what?
Let me
You know what?
I was gonna say one thing real fast.
I don't have time for that though. Let's get back to the topic. Like the
You
fuck.
sound
Okay,
jealous. You
fine.
sound like you're
Israel,
jealous, bro. You
Palestine. It's a
jealous?
mess, and we need to see what happens in the situation with Gaza in the tunnels. If they go into the tunnels, then the entire situation becomes more and more complicated. I'll pass over to Yehuda because I'm curious to hear what he has to say.
No, I got to balance this out. I need a pro-Palestinian speaker in here, man. Pro-Palestinian
Yo,
speaker.
We got Mo on stage.
Nelson, what's up, man? What's up, man? I've been listening, and you know, I want to say that in the last couple of days, I've been doing some research, and I actually came across a document, right? And I would love to get the opinions of the pro-Israeli people in here, because I feel that this document is something that I've actually experienced talking to you guys. And it's the Israel Project's 2009 Global Language Dictionary, right? And this was written by Jennifer Lasso Mizrahi. I believe that's her name.
Mizrahi.
Yeah. So basically, all of these talking points that you guys have been using are in this. I want to call it a script. So you guys have basically been reading off this script. Like I'm on to you guys. The jig is up. So I'm actually doing a show tomorrow on X, and I'm exposing y'all because it seems like all of you guys are reading off this script. You guys are literally being told what to say.
Who's you guys?
I'm talking about the pro-Israeli people. Are you pro-Israeli? You are you
I'm
are
pro Palestine. I'm pro Palestine and pro Israel, bro. I'm pro peace. One love,
you're pro
brethren.
you're pro peace. Well, that's
Oh,
that's that's that's
absolutely.
that's great, but I just find it very odd that there's a script out there that for every single concern or question that people have, you guys are actually told what to say, and you guys are all saying the same thing. So I'm gonna be exposing this tomorrow. I just want to know what you guys have to say about that. Am I being anti-Semitic right now? I'm just
No,
making sure that I'm
you're
not.
being silly. You're being silly.
I'm being silly for real. I'm being silly. Well, this is real shit, my guy. Like, I don't believe you when you say that you're pro peace. I think that is a bunch of bullshit. I've been listening to you talk, the end of the day, you know what side you're on. I know what side you're on. Don't play games with me. But at the end of the day, man, all I gotta say is that the IDF is a terrorist organization, and anyone that's on the side of the IDF, right? I'm not talking about Israel. I'm talking about the IDF. You can call those people terrorist sympathizers. Like, if you want to call Hamas and the people that support Hamas terrorist sympathizers, I have enough to call you guys the exact same, because it's all the exact same bullshit. All right. And, now I know that you guys actually know what to say for everything, that we put up. So, it's kind of tough. But I'm gonna make sure to read the script more and more, learn, all of your guys' talking points, and then maybe we can get better at this. But I would definitely love to hear what you guys got to say about this.
All right,
Do you
to the
guys want to
Hebrew.
say? Do you guys want to say it's not legitimate? Do you guys want to say that this is something anti-Semitic? Do you guys
Right,
want to
right, right,
say,
right, right,
you guys
right.
Like to
want to
the
question it?
Hebrew.
Like,
Like,
Right. No, we'll 100% figure that out. When you're ready to read the script, just let me know so we can read the script, right? But an important subtopic that I think we should debate. So a lot of people, mainstream media on Twitter, everywhere, they've essentially been saying that Gaza has been an occupied state by Israel. A lot of people think that there's been an occupation of Gaza prior to October 7th. Israel's been occupying Gaza for a long time, right? And I know some of you guys on this stage agree, some of you guys on this stage disagree, and we've got a bunch of people that want to get on stage right now that definitely fall on both sides and want to speak on this, right? So I think it'll make sense if we debate this, right? Is Gaza an occupied state? And I'm talking pre-October 7th. Okay.
let me
Now,
jump
for
in,
you
brother.
guys,
Let me jump in,
my
please.
brother, you gotta calm down. Go get that Xanax, right? Get that goddamn Xanax. But real quick, for everybody in the room and the audience, those of you guys that aren't on stage to speak, definitely want to get your thoughts on this, right? Is Gaza an occupied state? Hit that chat feature at the bottom right corner of the stage of the space. Respond to the tweet of this space with your answer. Is Gaza an occupied state? Yes, no, maybe, whatever. Drop it in the chat right now. Everybody in the space. Now, for you guys on stage, I want to go to Israr. Israr, I brought you up from the audience. Is Gaza an
Oh,
occupied state? Let's talk about it.
hi, Nelson. Thank you for letting me in. I think I just want to, before I even go in answering this question, I think there's multiple stuff that has been said over here, and I think that needs addressing. And before going to the occupation of Gaza, I think the debate comes back to what is happening now. And I heard a lot of speakers, which were both on either side, said a lot of stuff without any foundation or credentials to justify it. But I want to take this debate at its highest threshold as to what's happening, what Hamas did, and then what's now Israel doing. I mean, for starters, I think we accepted the foundational concept that the starting point is civilians are killing civilians is wrong, whether it is done by Hamas, whether it's done by Israel. But is Israel's response to what Hamas did justified? And I want to take it at highest threshold, even if and this is it as a self-defense, is it still justified? And that is where I think was more important to first kind of like address before going to the occupation of Gaza. And for me, I think the starting point is what are the criteria available there? Is the criteria our own opinion, or do we have some criteria under international law or any legal documents available? And we do have criteria under public international law, and that is the definition and the law on the self-defense. And yes, you're right. In many ways, any state has a right to self-defense to use against non-state actors who attack its territory, kill its citizens, take them hostage. But to what extent can they respond? And that is at the heart of this matter that a lot of people do not understand, and they go into the emotional ethos of taking side without understanding the basic of what the international law has to say. And in my view, the international law does not give justification for killing civilians just because you're entering into self-defense. And the criteria for that is, while yes, you can respond to non-state actors, you cannot just go out there kill children. You can't just kill women. You can't just attack medical units. You can't just attack civilians' homes, and you can't just attack religious places. And this is all being out there in Geneva Convention 1, Geneva Convention 2, Geneva Convention 3 that protects. And these are not conventions made by Gaza or Palestinians. These are conventions made post-World War II and post-World War I, and they are out there made by the international community, but more importantly by the Western community. And these are the very standard that the West have made, the very standards of the wars of engagement in international wars. And that is where the violation comes. There are often debates that, oh, Israel can do those attacks because they are following a legitimate military objective. Actually, to some extent, that is right under international humanitarian law. There are times where you can attack something in proximity to civilians when it is to achieve a legitimate military objective, but there are limitations to that. The limitation is has to be proportionate and it has to be verified. And more importantly, what we have seen here is not a single proportionate response to what's seen. It is in no way proportionate to attack hospitals. It is in no way proportionate to attack refugee camps, and it is in no way proportionate to attack religious places or houses out there, even if you are following a terrorist organization, and that's a separate debate in its own way. And the second thing, I think on both sides, we try to take sides on this. Okay, just because one side this and the other side, I don't think there has to be always sides. I think one objective that can follow is what is the basic human thing we can do. Human, as a human, from a human point of view, it is wrong to kill Israeli children or Israeli civilians, as well as it's wrong to kill children or innocent civilians that are from Palestine or from Gaza. And we don't have to take sides. We can take the same debate at a level by just following the very human path. If the moral foundation is it wrong to kill civilians? Doesn't matter, Israeli or Palestinians. If we agree with this basic element of it, then I don't think we should be debating as to whether it was right to kill the civilians within Gaza versus was it right to kill the civilians in Israel. Both were wrong to kill. That is the basic debate they should be followed for. And I think we have polarized this debate so much into the right side and the left side that we have forgot the basic moral thing that exists out there, that doesn't matter. Children on one side are killed. Children on the others, it's wrong. And those who have killed them should be punished, should be accountable. And this brings the debate should be punished, should be accountable. And this brings the debate. The International Criminal Court has prosecuted quite a few individuals, including the al-Bashir, the president of Sudan, who committed massive massacres in his own country. But one of the things that we have noticed is that the International Criminal Court is completely being marginalized or hampered by Western kind of like political powers. If something is in the favor of states like Britain or the United States, then the International Criminal Court is really much influenced in their direction. So a good example would that be when Russia commits war crimes, the International Criminal Court is forced to form a committee on war crimes as to what Russia has done. Rightly so. But when the same is done by Israel, we saw examples of Afghanistan and Iraq where the International Criminal Court tried to prosecute the British forces and American forces for war crimes. And we saw Trump try to sanction the International Criminal Court. We saw that Britain tried to kind of like avoid the whole process. And that is the hypocrisy that within this kind of like polarization, we have forgot what is wrong and what is right. And we forgot to take the path of what is moral. And it has always now come to the point of, okay, whether something is Western or not Western. If it's a developing country, it does not have massive Western support, then to use the word, it's basically fucked. And if it is a Western country and is massive, if not a Western country, but even if a developed country and has a Western support, then even if they commit criminal crimes, war crimes, then they are in safe havens and they can have the legitimacy to talk about what is right and what is wrong, and also at the same time violate the same things that they hold for.
So,
And now
wait,
I'm
you
going to
talking about the
conclude as well.
legitimacy? Because you're talking about legitimacy. Let's keep it. And once again, and once again, and I brought this up earlier, and I still don't get freaking answers. People get quiet and they're like, yeah, no, it's Islamophobia, and I'm not trying to be Islamophobia, but Muslims in the Middle East, you guys are scared. They're scary as fuck. Okay, I mean that is one of my biggest fucking nightmares. You know, being in the Middle East and running into some Muslims. You know what I'm saying, with sandals on and some shit like that, and some white pants and a beard and a little cap on their head. That would scare the fuck out of me because as an American, I've seen people get their heads chopped off. I've seen people.
Jonathan, that's
No,
right.
but wait. Hold on, wait. And I've seen that you guys kill each other. You guys kill each other in your own sex. I mean, you guys, if you're Sunni, you're fighting the Shiites, okay? And then, you know, you guys don't fucking accept the Nation of Islam because they're whatever. And then, you know, you guys are killing Jewish people. So what I'm saying is that this helped me understand this because you motherfuckers, excuse me, excuse me, sorry about that. It seems like the Brothers of Islam is killing a lot of people, whether it's their own or someone else. I mean, it doesn't seem at peace with anyone, and that's how I feel. And I've been trying to get some answers. And last night I was told I was Islamophobic for saying this, but no one gave me any answers. You know, why? Why? Give me some understanding because I don't see any other religion that's going out
Okay,
there killing people like this.
can I answer, Nelson?
I don't see any other. Wait 1 second. I don't see any other religions that's going out there killing one another. Okay, killing Jewish people. Okay, and doing and what other religion? Like I said a little while ago, when you hear someone say God is great, do I have to dive on a fucking floor or run for shelter? If someone like Allah Akbar, I'm running, and that's crazy. What other religion, when you hear someone yelling, "Yo, God is great"? As soon as I hear someone say God, you know, like Allah, I'm running, and that's crazy as fuck. There's suicide bombers, people are crashing planes into fucking buildings. You know, car bombs. You know, they don't give a fuck about killing themselves, and they talking about 40 virgins. Look, I'm not trying to be
You're watching too
disrespectful.
much,
Hold on.
Nick.
Wait. Because
Jonathan,
you guys wait 1 second. I'm almost done. You guys are promising 40 virgins, and it's shit scary as fuck. I'll take one hoe here in this country. You know, I mean, you're killing yourselves, and that's scary. If you can kill yourself and not think about killing yourself, I know you don't give a fuck about me.
You're watching too much Fox News.
You are officially the most Islamophobic dude on Twitter. I swear to God.
No, I'm the guy that's trying to get some understanding because, like the Muslims
No,
in
you
America.
don't.
Wait,
No, you
because I'm
don't.
not biased at all. Muslims in America get along well, but what I've seen on television. Everything I've seen on television, dude can be walking with goats and then have an AK. I mean, this shit just scares the fuck out of me. Next thing you know, you get this is stuff that maybe I am in Islam. Maybe I am, and that's what I'm trying to get out of.
Jonathan, you watching too
Jonathan,
many
I
movies.
have a question for
Too
you,
many movies.
Jonathan.
Bro,
People,
yo, you know what? I definitely need to get the audience's response to that before somebody on stage responds. For you guys in the audience, if what he just said right now just triggered the shit out of you, like that just pissed you all the way off.
That wasn't the intention.
And you probably did. I need you to hit that chat feature at the bottom right corner right now. Respond to this space and let me know that right now. If you just got triggered what he just said right now, hit the chat feature, bottom right corner. Respond to this space. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you agree with him, same thing. Hit the chat feature and let me know what somebody just put black people terrify me. Oh my God.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I keep it real. Something terrify me. I'm not here. I'm keeping it real. Some black people terrify me. So you guys are sitting here saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be afraid." Okay, white men, white young men, in trench coats and military garb walking into a supermarket or a fucking movie theater will frighten the fuck out of me as well. I keep it real. The fuck. So, but you guys are telling me not to be afraid of motherfuckers that's flying planes into buildings, blowing up themselves with suicide jackets on, and fucking car bombs and all this other shit. You guys are telling me not to be afraid of that. And that's what I'm trying to get. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of everything I'm supposed to be afraid of.
You know what? I want to give Mo. Mo, you're on stage. What's your response to what this guy just said right now? Mo, it sounds like the IDF stole your phone signal, my brother. They're terrorizing your phone signal right now.
Yes.
I think Jonathan has problems.
But Mo, we need to get you some Wi-Fi right now. One second. I want Mo to jump in. Mo is definitely, proud Muslim brother. Oh my God, Netanyahu got that boy in the basement.
1G.
Okay, all right.
Can I quickly respond?
All right, let's go to Anwar. I want to go to somebody that hasn't spoken. I'm bringing up new speakers. There's a lot of people that want to get on the stage, so I got to keep bringing up new speakers. Okay, Anwar.
Nelson, a
Can
quick
I
response, please.
respond to Israel after?
Hell no. I need a Muslim to respond to the Islamophobic shit this man just
Hey,
said.
Nelson, can you
This is
hear
a
me?
balanced
No, no,
stage.
No,
no, no. The question, it wasn't Islamophobic. Nelson, I'm gonna tell you something. If
That's
you
not
and
what
I
the
were
chat is
together, you
telling
would
me right
fucking run
now.
fast into my ass with my black eyes. You would beat my ass out of that desert, hiding and shit. If we saw a Toyota pickup truck, and that's what it is—a Toyota pickup truck with motherfuckers with the weights shit on and AKs on their side. You're gonna run and fucking hide
All
just
right,
like me.
Jonathan,
Like, can
can
I
I respond
respond to
you?
this? Can I respond to this, please?
Jonathan, let me respond. Jonathan, you have your very favorite people right here, okay? They are using the religion to grab a land from the people, chopping the heads off their children, 10,000 dead, 4,000 children. I mean, you don't see that going on in front of you and you are not scared of them. How biased are you? I mean, Jonathan, what does it really take? So now, everywhere else, there are political conflicts going on. Wherever the war is going on, there is political, man. Everything is coming out of the politics. Here, Adam was giving example of somebody he met in Pakistan. Obama has killed with drones thousands of people, innocent people. And then after that, he tells that we made a mistake. The guy in Texas who was pressing the button and killing those innocent people, he went crazy. He lost his mind. And he said that I mean, I can't sleep because I have been killing too many innocent people. Jonathan, you are not scared of these people. They were killing people
Fuck
on
no, yeah,
American
hell
soil,
yeah, I
right?
am, bruh.
Bruh.
What are you talking about, man?
Shut up!
Yeah, I am, bro. Yeah, I am, and you should be afraid too, because, like I said, bro, I don't know if let me ask them. Who's my friend? Am I supposed to be friendly with Sunnis? Am I supposed to be friendly with
Jonathan, it
Shiites?
has
Who the fuck am I
nothing to
supposed to be
do
friendly?
with the religion. These
But
are the
can you tell me
Is
conflicts.
my mic working?
Yeah, your mic's working. Who am I supposed to be friends with? Who's okay? Is it Sunnis or is it Shiites?
Dude,
Who the
dude,
hell am I
dude,
friend?
the They're guy all who's okay. Yo, hey,
Let's
stop,
go to Mo.
stop,
Let's go to
stop.
Mo. Mo, go
There
ahead.
are sects
The
within
guy you're
Christianity. There are sects.
hey, hold up. The guy you're actually speaking, I actually have him blocked. Imagine that, right? So we'll start with the questions. First, we want to address your Islamophobia, all right? Which is highly important, highly dangerous because you are in the United States of America. There is a rise in Islamophobia. That started in 9/11. But when you're talking about suicide bombing, don't worry. The Muslims weren't the ones who were the creators of this. The Japanese started it when you were going to war with them and they started to bomb themselves into your port, right? The kamikazes, that's where it all started from. So this type of warfare, once an entity feels that it has no power, it has no ability, when you have so much security systems in place where your intelligence is listening to every single person, knows where everybody is and has, all right, this becomes a difficult process. So you have to look at it potentially as a form of warfare. All right, very important. Now, we're not going to get into 9/11. I would rather talk about now, and I would rather talk about your Islamophobia and the danger it causes. We had a child, 6 years old, get his throat slit, his mother stabbed almost to death, just because of this type of rhetoric. All right, people in the Muslim world are not dangerous. People in the Muslim world and the faith itself is not dangerous. In fact, Muslims suffer more from terrorism. And now let's talk terrorism. A lot of this terrorism that exists in the Middle East literally is a byproduct and or funded by Israeli Zionist elements. And you can actually go and do your research for that. In fact, if we want to rewind, you can actually find that the CIA had a hand in Al Qaeda's understanding itself on the premise to fight the Soviet Unions in the north of Afghanistan. So now we begin. These are things that are well known. The Brits were known about how to fund terrorist groups or create terrorist organizations so they can destabilize populations so they can enter. Again, it's a simple tactic, divide and conquer. But you're making it out like Muslims are all fucking terrorists, dude. This is incorrect. Highly dangerous.
Can you answer 911? Who did 911 then?
What do you mean who did 911?
You said you don't want to talk about 911. The reason why is because you know it's a crazy thing that you're going to say. So I'd love to hear what you say. You know what? First of all, I'll say it now. Muslims are not responsible for terrorism all over the world, and you should not be Islamophobic. 100%. I agree with that. But you cannot ignore that there are
9/11 was Mossad plot with the help of
Free,
Osama bin Laden.
Nelson, come on.
Saudi Arabia
You want
was
to do this
involved. You
right?
can read the
Do you want
commission
to do this
report.
right? Because I'm here to help, right? So if you want, let's bring up some people who can actually speak, so we can come at each and every single point properly. There are people in your audience happily ready to come. It's important that we do this. All right.
I just
Can you
brought
answer the
Don C up,
question,
man.
sir?
I brought your boy Don C up. So I mean, we're keeping this balance.
Hey, I could send you exactly who should come up there. There, I see them. Hi guys, everything is good. I think
Can
I
you
think
answer
it.
the question, though, my friend?
Go ahead with your question, but please just remove for us. Thank you for
No, no.
doing that.
The reason why is you made a comment and said you said a bunch of things, but before you said them, you said I don't want to talk about 9/11. Now, the only reason why someone may not want to talk about 9/11 is they might have a controversial topic to discuss. Now, could you please, for our
Yeah,
audience, can
look,
you
what
say what you really think?
because you found pristine passport on the ground of 9/11, and whether elements
Just be
are
straight
involved.
up.
No. Whether elements are involved. Again, I went and I told you, dude.
Say it.
No,
Say
no,
it outright.
don't just say it. Like I get your little, your panties in a bunch and shit. Answer the